you're written off.
In what way?
Basically, if you get a bad grade, you're done.
Yeah.
Or if you if you get laid off from a job, you're done. You only get one chance.
Mm.
When I came here, I realized, wow, such a forgiving culture. Failure is only an opportunity to do well the next time, somebody told me. I kept listening. Then they pointed me to this book of the Intel CEO. Failure is only an opportunity to improve in the next quarter. I said, amazing. So you can do what you want to do. And a lot of time, if you look at the most successful entrepreneurs, were failed entrepreneurs or small exits before. So this is the only place where people are not measuring you on what you created. They're willing to say, okay, it was the idea. Maybe it was time. You get multiple shots at the goal. In India, where I grew up, you take a shot, miss a three-pointer, you're benched. You don't get another shot. So you don't get the best out of people. So the culture in Silicon Valley and America about experimentation, it being okay to fail, the way the capitalist system is set up is just amazing. It doesn't happen. Like when I came in 92, this wasn't happening anywhere else in the world. So it was a cultural shock, but I took advantage of it, which is wow, right? Who told, like when I grew up in India, at the age of 25, you can start your own company and you've never worked before. You go like, and is that a movie? Is that a dream? But when you live it, and this happened in December 95, January 96, when I started my first company, it wasn't that common, right? Like of all the Indian founders in 95, 96, I was the fifth or the sixth venture-backed entrepreneur who also has never worked anywhere. So it wasn't that common, but there was a movie, right? Like Coming to America, or It Can Only Happen in America. So I said, oh, that's what this is. It's a dream, right? Like, remember that movie where the guy says, like, when he looks at that hotel and says, like, I'll also live in it one day.
It feels like somehow you have met or know everyone. And I wonder, how do you think about building relationships? How do you think about creating value in people's lives? How do you think about getting value, where you need to help you push things ahead?
I would say the best way to approach these things is, as I mentioned earlier, don't look at the output or what will come, right? Just focus on, hey, let's do stuff together and let's grow the ecosystem. So that's how I built the relationship with Satya or many of the people in the industry. It wasn't out of like, hey, one day we'll become somebody. No, right? Like these are nice people. We're working on related problems. Let's just collaborate and let's just grow the ecosystem, right? So what I would say is, it's the same philosophy of karma, and you invest in a relationship and don't count what will come out. But my parents taught me in any relationship, if you give 80 and expect 20, rather than giving 20 and expecting 80, or even worse, giving 50 and expecting 50, you'll be a happy man. So I always believe in a relationship, give 80. If you get 20, you'll say, great. If you get 40, what an amazing thing. Or why even think about it? And now I understand what my mom was telling me. She was telling me that if you give 80, your expectation is nothing from the other person. So that's what I was learning in a way, that don't even focus on that result, what I'll get out.
Mm.
If it's 100 points in an exam, you do 80%. It's okay. So why think about what's going to come out? I never think that way, right? Let's create relationships. Let's grow the ecosystem and make the pie bigger.
Is it really everything, or is it just relationships? Are business transactions different, or do you think about it literally with everything?
I think to me, a business transaction also has to be a win-win. You try to understand and have empathy and compassion on what the other side is trying to do and look at it rationally. You can't just win everything in life, right? It's a compromise, it's constraints. And in any good business deal or business negotiation, both sides need to have some bubbles in their stomach, then that's a good deal, right? But
Everyone feels pain.
everybody has to feel a little bit of pain. Then you know how seriously do they want this thing, right? If it's easy money, right? Like there's no such thing, right? Like look at one of the biggest companies in the world today, NVIDIA. What does Jensen say, right? Like no pain, no gain, right? The company took so long, but look what they've created, right? So both sides have to feel it, but you have to see together what the impact will be.
When did you first meet Jensen? Was this decades ago, early in your
Yeah, like I think like when I was at, he may not remember, when I was at V Extreme, we were a small company doing video streaming. Then they were a GPU company. When I ended up at Microsoft, we had interactions at the product level because Windows, the cards of GPUs used to go into Windows machines. So we have kept in touch over the years, but then over the last few years, we have gotten to know each other really well. So and we didn't even know that our paths will cross,
again?
because I'm saying because if it's, you just never know. You
Yeah.
just never know. Versus with Satya, we've always kept in touch. Sundar and I went to school together, right? Like what sometimes happen is a bunch of us who grew up in the ecosystem in the mid 90s, 30 years later, we've all grown up, right? Like, and gone to places. And it was a very small community. The same thing actually happened for entrepreneurs who started in the late 70s and early 80s. The Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Larry Ellison. It was the PC industry. If you look at the internet industry, it was very small. When I started VX3, the community was very small. And now all those people, if you look around, they're running these mega companies because it takes time. You need to have less hair, right? Like you need to have white hair like me. It's called experience. So you all are solving problems. Who knew one day my friend would be running Microsoft? Another one I went to school with and we used to cook together would be running Google. You just don't know.
Well, there's some of them are and some of them aren't, right? I mean, when if you try to go back to that time 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and you think about who they were at that time, was it obvious to you? And what do you think people like them and yourself, what do you think you did differently from others who were in the same room pursuing the same dreams at the same time, but have ended up in, not saying it's bad place, horrible place, but very different place from what some you all running big organizations?
I think it's very hard to predict anything. So if I go back to 97, right? Like my office is here, Satya's is a little bit further away from where you are. For us to think, him to think that he would be running Microsoft and I would be running a top venture capital firm, honestly, right? Like nobody thinks that way, right? Like what you say is, I'm going to go do great things. What thing? I don't know. But you start developing some qualities along the way that allows you the ability to become great leaders along the way. And then one door opens the other. And I would say across all these folks, just it's very clear that they have to be intellectually smart, they have to be driven, they have to be hardworking. All those things happen. But one of the things I love about these people is they have an X factor. They have this gene called empathy and compassion. And especially for people who run big companies, that's a very important quality. And
How
it's
so?
because at the end, companies are run by people. People build products, people build companies. The larger the organization, the more of a people leader you have to be. So empathy, compassion, because you're appointed by the people, you're not the founder. But one of the traits I admire about Jensen the most is patience. Not only do they have empathy and compassion, but they also have patience. GPUs were never big, but he always had a dream that instead of the GPU hanging around the CPU from Intel and AMD, it will reverse. And that's what happened. So he saw certain things in his vision that one day it would happen that most people did, right? So I think you have to go on the journey, have big dreams, but how they manifest itself, but keep doing good and good things will happen to you. Make enough friends along the way, do good for other people, good things will happen to you. That's what my belief always has been. There's a reason, right? When you asked if I help somebody or if I do something for the other, I always have taken the approach, it's okay. They may not do anything for me, but somebody else will. And it happens. It happens, right? Like in life, it's just if you think positive, positive happens. I don't like negative vibes and negative energy because then that can happen. So just think positive, keep a positive outlook, and don't be coin operated. None of the people we mentioned are transactional. They're not coin operated. They're playing a long game. They're playing a long game. And they're patient and people follow them. As a leader, the most important quality is how many people follow you when you go from place A to place B. I always look at and ask people like, man, who's your best friend? They tell me somebody who's 12 months relationship. I look at them and say, man, I don't ask them, how old are you? I'm 35. And your best friend is only 12 months relationship. You start figuring out, right?
It's a hard person to be around.
No, I'm just saying, like, for example, my best friends are people I went to school with,
Sure.
right? I met them in 1988, right? Like, I'm just saying, Satya could be anybody. I could be anybody. We would still be knowing each other, right?
Right.
So you don't, it's not a calculated game. It's just, it's relationships. It's like LinkedIn. You don't know who's going to do one day in life. So you just build this spider web. It doesn't matter. Don't put it in a math equation because that will just be disappointing.
Yeah.
Life is anyways tough. Let's not make relationships tough.
Everyone creates value. Everyone has something to give and something to offer. If I treat everyone equally, it may be that someday that person I help turns out to be the CEO of Google, or it's just my friend. It's not, there's not any, sort of thing back and forth. It's just, we're just supporting each other. I'm just there. And
You're human.
you
Just be human.
treat everyone as you want to be treated, and karma will bring it back around in some way.
Yeah, no, very well summarized, right? Like my point is just be a human.
Yeah.
The ideal self of yourself.
Yeah.
And if each one of us can do that, think what the world we will be in.
Yeah.